What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you're excited because football is in the air, sort of. The Dallas Cowboys held an open practice, open OTA session on Wednesday, May 25th, which means we have some things to discuss, some updates to get to. So let's go ahead. Let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get started. First things first, Tony Pollard lined up in the slot. Now, you may have read this week, the fantastic Bob Sturm wrote about this subject over at The Athletic, how we all know, we all recognize the Dallas Cowboys are going to have Ezekiel Elliott be their top running back. We're not going to debate this. We're not going to discuss it. We're just going to accept it. So that being the case, we know, we acknowledge, we all understand that Tony Pollard is a player on this team who is a fantastic weapon, somebody who you have to integrate into the overall offensive game plan, something the Dallas Cowboys, to be frank, failed at near the end of last season. And so if you're not going to use Tony Pollard as the primary running back on your football team, some of us may disagree with that idea or that disposition, but you have to find creative ways to use Tony Pollard instead. Using him out of the slot is something we all want to see. Very, very common sort of idea that people throw out is to use him like the 49ers use Deebo Samuel. That is much easier said than done. But the point is that Tony Pollard has a similar skill set to electric players like that across the entire NFL. So using him in the slot is awesome. We know the Cowboys wide receiver group obviously is now without Amari Cooper, obviously is not going to have a Michael Gallup at the beginning of this season. So the more pizzazz that you can throw up there for Dak Prescott to literally throw up to himself is a very good thing. Now, speaking of the Dallas Cowboys wide receiver group, some not bad or somber, but just not great news to talk about. Dallas Cowboys third-round pick Jalen Tolbert, friend of Blogging the Boys, was working off to the side on Wednesday on the resistance cords. Not great, but, no need to freak out, no need to panic, no need to, really worry or anything. It's very early for Jalen Tolbert, obviously, in his NFL career, very early for this Cowboys season. We are still in the month of May. I know it's the last week, but so nothing to really panic over here. You would love to see Jalen Tolbert out there running routes and catching passes all over the place, but, patience is a virtue. Now, on that subject, in talking about Cowboys wide receiver options, we all tend to throw out CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver one, awesome, etc. Michael Gallup when he's going to be back. We're all quick to jump on Jalen Tolbert. Somebody who's kind of forgotten, somebody who kind of gets left out in those discussions is the first external free agent who the Dallas Cowboys signed this offseason, and that is James Washington. The same James Washington who was in a walking boot on Wednesday. You don't love to see this. And again, it's May, right? There's no need to panic. There's no need to say this is a terrible signing. This isn't going to work out. There's no need to be negative like that. It's just not great, and obviously there's something going on there that a walking boot is necessary. I'm sure we'll hear more about that from Mike McCarthy and whatnot. But hey, this is the time of year where you need to be extraordinarily patient. And so if the Dallas Cowboys are going to do that, it's going to give more opportunities for the players down the roster. We know there are a lot of wide receivers going to be contending for roster spots. Again, it's not a great, bit of news. You can't spin it that way. But, it's very, very, very early. Now, moving on, let's get back to positive things. Let's build some positive momentum. We talked about Tony Pollard, basically talked about wide receivers. Let's talk about the other side of the ball, the Dallas Cowboys defense that we all expect to hopefully not take too big of a step back, because that natural regression is likely going to come for them, especially in the turnover department, but maybe not if Marquise Bell has anything to do with it. Dallas Cowboys undrafted free agent Marquise Bell had a pick 6 during Wednesday's session, and that's exciting, right? The Cowboys can always and have always been in a position to be able to use safety help. So if they stumbled upon one by way of undrafted free agency, we know they're not going to draft one. That would certainly be a very good thing. You love to see pick 6s. Obviously, when you're practicing against yourself, anything good that happens means that something bad happened to the other side of the ball. But still, this is awesome. This is a very good thing. Shout out to Marquise Bell. Finally, Tyler Smith, Dallas Cowboys first-round draft pick. Obviously, a bit of a contentious pick, at least amongst Dallas Cowboys fans. Working with the twos, working with the second team. Is this in any way cause for concern, panic, grief, whatever? No, not at all. Not whatsoever. This is totally normal. It's the first open OTA practice. Of course, the Cowboys are going to slow roll this thing beyond the fact that there is the natural need to be slow, the natural need to take your time, the natural need to have Tyler Smith acclimate himself to the NFL game, to the NFL level, obviously to the left guard position. There is also beyond all of that the earn your stripe. This is the NFL. We're not just going to hand you the starting position sort of mentality that has, sort of existed within NFL teams and professional sports for the most part, basically for all of time. So I would not freak out about Connor McGovern getting the starting left guard reps over Tyler Smith because, again, like everything we've mentioned here, it is only the month of May. But still, it is the month of May, and we have some Dallas Cowboys football things to discuss and, hopefully get excited about. And that's a really cool thing. I know we're all certainly very anxious for football stuff and football activity of some kind now with free agency and the draft and everything all the way behind us. But we'll have more discussion and reactions to everything that continues to happen surrounding the Dallas Cowboys here on the Blog and the Boys YouTube channel. So please make sure and subscribe. My name is RJ Ochoa. You can follow me all throughout the Blog and the Boys universe. Check out blogandtheboys.com. And finally, do yourself a favor and have a fantastic day. Have the greatest day of all time. You know why? Because you deserve it. We'll see you next time, everybody.